Hi, welcome to Building Lives 101. Getting back to the basic principles of spirituality, where we can learn, grow, expand, and evolve. Okay? What I would like to talk about today is who are we really? Who are we really? We are God's children. Um, Before I go on, I'm going to just go through briefly a little bit about my experience and who I am. So, therefore, you can get an understanding of my beliefs, ideas. Um, from I was a very young girl, and many of you may have the same feeling, and I'm sharing this with you. So does if there's anybody out there that has gone through the same thing, you can relate. And not only that, too, we're at a pivotal moment right now where uh, a lot of us are waking up more and more, and some of it has been really been asleep for a long time with no idea of what's been going on. Um, so hopefully, I'm hoping by me sharing my experience and experience of what I've gone through and the process that I've gone through, that can help somebody else. Okay. All right. From a little girl growing up, well, let me go back a little further. I remember there was time when I, um, I, when I was little, I used to have what some people would say visits. And I used to tell my family about it. I'm sorry. Oh, the dog is playing with his toy. Sorry about that. Okay. So I used to tell my family, and the younger kids used to make fun of me and say that I was seeing. It was a relative that passed away. I think she was an aunt, and that I was seeing my aunt. Okay, and it was usually a man and a woman, but mostly a woman that would come and see me. And I don't remember the discussions, but I know that they came to see me. That's all. And as I grew up, like a lot of the kids are like some of the kids that I see that are growing up now that are coming into the world, they have that um, godlike, Christ-like um, consciousness about them already. Some people have now called those people star seeds, whatever. I don't know. I just know at a young age, I had very I had some skills or gifts, as some people call it, spiritual gifts. Not only did I have spiritual gifts, I also had that feeling that I wasn't from here. Okay, I wasn't from here, and wherever it was, I wanted to go back. And would look up all the time and just you know I had such control over my dreams, my dream world. There are other people that I know who can do this, or you can get out of your dream, maybe run to the bathroom, come back, and then go back into the same dream. You know, I used to have a lot of paralysis. You know, those night paralysis. And finally, one day, one night actually, because I mean, it's such a horrifying experience. And I think this might have happened 2 times, but the first time I actually heard a voice just tells me to calm down, to just, and this is exactly what it says. It says, your body is not aligned. You're not aligned with your body. It's like, so my body traveled, it's coming back, and my body was waking. I'm not exactly sure how to explain it. Waking up, I was kind of like in between, and I had the choice. That I know now that I could have exit out of my body, or or go back into my body. But I was trying to go in my body. I didn't want to exit out, you know? So I was told just to calm down, and just relax and allow it to, you know, to happen. And it took a while, but I did. I relaxed, and yeah. And then another time it happened, and, you know, I, I did that. I'm trying to think, because I remembered something, and I was like, did I actually leave and go? And because I remember hearing my mom and her fiance at the time talking, and I was just kind of like, did I go into the room? And I don't think I did. I know I just heard them talking. And I was thinking about going over there, or, or trying to call for them or something like that. But then my voice just told me to calm down, remember how this works, and to calm down. And I did. And then it was like, okay, now I have a handle on this. So it's like whenever this happened, I knew how to do it. And then after that, I never really had the sleep paralysis again. It's just weird. Also, the other thing, um, being very intuitive, not just very intuitive, being able to, had psychic abilities, still have those. Um, be able to just kind of like read the thoughts of other people. Um, More so when I was younger. As I grew older, and I wanted to be so much like everybody else. Then, of course, and I got into drinking and so forth, and that kind of, you know, got put on the back burner for a little bit. And I remember hearing somebody who said that when they noticed when they drink and did alcohol, that they didn't have those abilities, the abilities will go. And that kind of explains why this system wants us so distracted with alcohol, with drugs, with movies, with gadgets, internet, all these things. I'm hoping that you really see what's going on here, because then you can't tap into your powers, especially the people of black, brown, yellow, dark skin, whatever you want to call them. Everyone has it. It's just that some people are more than others. Um, so that kind of went away for a while. It was still there, but it kind of went away as I got into more working, and, just like everybody else, it went away. And then um, I'm not sure what year it was, but I know it was before 2012. Okay. I started to get a call on my life. I just kept on hearing this voice in my head saying, it's time. It's time. And I knew I had to return back to my spiritual roots. I know I had to stop drinking because I was drinking like crazy. Um, I knew I had to do that. I just knew. I just knew I had to, and I knew that I had to uh, get it into what do you want to call it, church or whatever. That's all I knew at the time. Okay, and I did. I went. I was in was practicing Messianic. For those who don't know, it's Jews that believe in Jesus. Okay, so I went back to that, and I went back to that, and when you would go to the synagogue, and I would worship, and I was heavily into my Bible, and I was reading, and and sure enough, I started to wake up. This is why one of the reasons why I believe that they don't want you to focus on the Bible. They don't want you. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not into religion, organized religion. I'm into spirituality. Okay? And that spirituality, meditation, fasting, tapping into our conscious Christ consciousness. Okay? I believe that. And I believe when we do that and we get connected and we become one with the Most High, then we are guided. We're not separate. And we can become godlike in this body. Okay. Now, saying all that, so I started to have an awakening again, a reawakening. My senses, my gifts start to come back, and it felt awesome. It felt awesome. Now, I went back into just doing a little drinking, and when I slipped back into that, uh, one thing I didn't give up was uh, going back to eating meat. Um, because once I got the concept of eating meat and the energy and what was revealed to me. I mean, once a lot of things that are revealed to you, you know, you just, what you can't, you don't lose that knowledge. What you may lose is the gift that comes with it if you are not practicing certain things. And it's just like what happened with the the Israelites is when they once they went away from their ritual and from what they were doing, they their sin is what is they are reaping now. How should I say this? How should I say this? But they're reaping. It's not like they sinned. I don't even want to say that. It's not sin. It's just words are said a certain way to describe certain things. There is no sin. As far as I've come to learn, there is no sin. The sin is when you become disconnected from God. The old days they call that sin or whatever, but there is no sin. God is love. That's one of the things that I asked myself. I said, why would a God put his children in a loving God who's forgiven, forgiven and merciful, put his children in a fiery pit forever and ever and ever to be tortured? Why? Why would he do that? It doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me. Because if a human being who has a child and love their child so much, no matter what that child has done, a loving mother will always love that child. No matter what they do, they could be a murderer. They're going to love and they're going to forgive their son, their daughter. And they're not going to want to see them rot in prison forever. And they will await the time for them to come home with open arm and love. And if a loving human mother can do that, much less a God of love, doesn't any of that make sense to anyone who's listening? Um, okay. So when I got a hold of that, anyway, so who we are uh, is God's children. Now, think of this. You're born into a world, an environment where you are immortal. You know everything. You you know you're a god, and as a god that knows everything and can go from here to here like this, and do so many things. Now, as God, as the creator, wants us to expand and grow and experience. A lot of people say God is experiencing through us. The To know itself. Trust me, God knows itself. It's the separation of the individuals that are separated from God that needs to know itself, because God has given that little drop its own individual character, personality, the soul. It's given them that person. Now that needs to know itself. That needs to know who it is. That needs to experience and grow. And by us going through this process of coming onto earth gives us the opportunity to do one thing: gain wisdom. Because we already have the knowledge. We really do. We know everything. I jokingly always said to someone when they say, "Oh, you think you know everything?" I said, "Yeah, I do. I just don't remember it all." I love that. Um, so we are God's children. And us as God's children, we're expanding, we're learning, we're growing, and we're gaining wisdom. The Bible talks about wisdom, how important wisdom is, and we strive for that. We want to learn that, and this is why we put ourselves through this. Okay, so all these stuff that people are making up about so many different things out there. Um, a lot of these stuff really don't exist. I will go into a lot of that later on. Now, there is some parts of it that do exist. I'm tapping in those little pause that I'm doing is because I am, it's been a while since I've done a lot of this stuff, so I pause a lot because I'm listening, if you want to put it that way. Um, to hear, I'm not like I hear. I'm not really. How can I say? I'm not channeling. And even though somebody told me once that they noticed that people who channel a lot, their mouth get all messed up. I'm not sure um, if that was just something, but I mean, I see people who are challenged, and their mouth looks fine to me. At least I would never know if they, um, which I don't know if I believe that, but if I believe that, that would probably why. Anyway, I'm ranting right now. So we're God's children, and you have what we call the chosen ones. A lot of people are always saying, "Oh, the chosen one," the Jewish people, and that is so. That is so. Now, everyone has as their part to play in all this. Everyone, the good, the bad, the ugly, are playing their part in all of this. In all of this. And it's coming to that point where we're evolving now. This cycle is evolving. There have been many cycles here on earth where, if you want to say, people have come and they've graduated and they're gone. And that part of that earth or that cycle ended and it started over. We were seated here, and meaning that this place was created and seated for the purpose of us to experience and to gain wisdom. That's it. Call it a hologram, call it whatever you want, but it's real. Earth is real. Earth is also is here. She's Earth is on Mother Earth, if you want to put it that way, is on um, is on a she's at a higher um, okay, hold on. All right. Sometimes it's hard to um, explain what is coming through. Okay, so um, okay, so if oh my gosh, okay, I always say I tell them I don't know if I can do this because I'm okay. All right, so um, okay. So just like here on Earth, where we have different levels of like governments or something like that, and you work up towards, or if you're even you're in a business, you start off as say a clerk, and then you go up to a team leader, you go up to a assistant manager, you go up to a manager, and then before you know it, you're you're the general manager, and then you are the supervisor of that whole store, and then you're the supervisor of the that whole division. You know what I mean? Okay, so likewise, it is with souls who have grown into certain levels. No, we could a lot of us could have been a rock at one point, experiencing that. And as we go through the evolution process, we experience different things. Now, we could have been an animal, and that's one level. And as we go through that process, we graduate into being a human, and from a human, we graduate into maybe, depending on how well we had evolved, we could be a planet. Now that is a awesome task, to be a planet. You have big cojones. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. You're a big thing if you are now a planet, because it takes a lot to hold that frequency, for one, to go through all the suffering that you're going through as a planet, and the wisdom and all the stuff that comes with that. That 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 is awesome. That is totally awesome. And so God is pretty much creating gods, creating other gods to be right there at the throne of God, if you want to put it that way. Okay? Overseeing other worlds. Now, um, something about um, something about a lot of people are talking about flat Earth now. I'm not even sure if this is a time to actually talk about that. I'm trying to see if I should talk about that. Um, hmm, okay. So I'm not sure if anybody has had this experience before, but I'm going to go and I'm going to say it. I don't want this video to be too long because I know people have a attention thing. Um, Now, I have said before that a lot of people, I've seen people have like near death experience and stuff like that. And I've always said that you don't have to have a near death experience to experience the afterlife, or to even experience certain aspect of that. And I've heard other people talk about, dreams that they've had that that is almost the same thing as having a near death experience. And we travel. I've heard, was looking up a dream thing, and I remember somebody said, a dream is just a dream. That's all it is. It's not. It is not just a dream. You actually really travel in your dreams. You go places, you travel, you go to the other side, you're traveling. And, sometimes you're actually, and then when you come back, it certain experience that you have, the way that you come back, and especially if you're given a message, it comes back in a form of a dream. Like you have to decipher it. It comes back in a form of a dream. But you were actually given, I'm looking at my mouth and I don't want you guys to see that. Oh my gosh. So you're actually given a message, and you come back and it comes back in the form of a dream. Okay? Um and then you don't remember too much about where you've been. Okay? I have been given some glimpse of places where I've been. Um, I, and when you have these experiences, I was on a ship. I got taken to a ship. And on that ship, if anybody have this experience, please share it, or if you know anything about it, you may not want to share it, but I feel like this is a time to actually share this now. I was on a ship, and on that ship, there were people who I knew. There were people who I knew, and they were all different types of beings, all different types. There was this one being that is supposed to be a very good dear friend of mine. And when he came up to me, he's short, he's really short, and he's kind of hairy. I'm not sure, but he's dark. I'm trying to think of and he's got a lot of teeth in his mouth, and he looks like a regular human being, like a midget, but he's a human being, and he it's kind of like a human being. Like, it's hard. I can't explain what it was a he. He has the energy of an like a male, and he was dressed in clothes and really good clothes. And as soon as I saw him, I knew who he was. I knew who he was, and I was so happy to see him. I knew it was a very good friend of mine. I knew it was. And I was so happy to see him. And there was somebody else. There was a lot of other people there with me, and they came over, and it was like, at first when I got on the ship, my body had to. I felt like I had. It was like, for a moment, like, where am I when I first got in there, and then it's like everything just start to come back. Everything just started to come back, and I also saw my mother. It's really weird. I saw my mother. My other mother. um, that I knew was my mother. But I knew it was my mother. But it's not my earthly mother. Does that make sense? Okay. Um, and I knew that I was somewhere. And I saw the big glass on the ship. I knew where I was. I just knew. I knew where I was. I was there for a reason, and I knew. Of course, I don't remember the rest of it. I don't remember anything else, but I remember that part because all of that was all blacked out. Okay, so we have, when we leave, we're in this body, but when we sleep, we we go back. Some of the times we go back to where we um, we are, and sometimes it's also a learning experience too, something to experience so that we can bring back into this world. Like, one of my experience was, I really felt like I woke up. I felt like I woke up, and all of a sudden I was diving into the dark, deep dark. And one of the things that I've heard other people explain, when you're in a pitch dark, and it's true, you don't know whether you're going up, down, you have no sense of where you are. You just don't. But for me, it just, because I was going so fast, it felt like I was going down. But then I saw a light, and once I saw the light, now it felt like I was going up into the light. But then I realized that I was going that direction all the time. It just seemed like I was going down. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to hell. I really did. I thought I was going to hell. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I died and I'm going to hell. That's what I thought. And then when I saw the light, then I knew that I had a present next to me. There was someone there leading me, guiding me. and it was a present. It was an angel. I felt that it was an angel guiding me, and I couldn't see their face. I know that they were there, he or she. I really couldn't tell, but it felt like it was a he. I don't know. I really couldn't tell. Um, but I felt the presence. I felt the presence there, and that person was guiding me and holding my hand, and I was like, and I start to see like angels, like it looks like angel. I'm not sure, but they were just coming down, passing us like fast, really, really, really fast. And in my mind, because of my in my mind, because of the Bible, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there's a war in heaven. And my first reaction is that I have to help. I have to. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at myself because my reaction is that I have to help. And I got into war, like warrior mode, and I started to go really fast to go up there to kick ass. Seriously, that's what I was thinking. And then all of a sudden, it was that whoops, the angels just snagged me back. And I was getting angry. I was getting angry. And that was not the right, um, uh, I had lowered my frequency. I had lowered my frequency by getting angry. I was angry, and I lowered my frequency, and I was wondering what happened, why but then I understood that I lowered my frequency and I couldn't continue to go. So a lot of times when we go through life and things happen or shit happens, we can deal with a lot of the things around us, and we don't have to lower our frequencies. We have to learn. But if we let anger in, if we allow anger to come in, then we're going to lower our frequency and the situation will be a different outcome. So in our endeavors or whatever that we're doing, I mean, the good thing is that here we can change that. We can correct that very quickly and get out of the anger. And after a while, we'll be able to to handle a lot of that. So, my wonderful souls, I just keep on. I'm hoping that this is helping somebody, and that this is really being helpful. And please share. I mean, I see some people are viewing, but please share anything if you guys are feel that can relate to any of this. Um, there's just so much more experience that I've had. And this is why I believe in certain things that I do. I know I've talked to the spirit, to God. I know with all my heart that I have. And based on a lot of the experience that I've had, not just in the dream world, also in my waking moments. Okay? Also in my waking moments, I've had wonderful experience. One of the experiences that I've had, I remember when I was going through a situation and I'd lost my license because I had a DUI and I lost my license, and I had to walk a lot of places, when nobody was around, and no family could give me a ride or something like that, and I had to walk a lot of places. And I had to go to I think, no, it wasn't the post office. I had to go pay the water bill and I was coming from the water bill, and it was a pretty good walk. And I was coming home, and I was going off in my head. I was just ranting. I was just, talking to God, and like, I was ranting in my head. And I was angry and I was upset and I was going through a lot of emotions. And all of a sudden, it wasn't me. And I heard, Allison, God wants you to be strong. And all of a sudden, what could I do? It wasn't audible, like, I heard it from outside. It was in my head, but it wasn't me talking. Because in my head, I was going off. I was, having this conversation with my head that was just angry and whatever, and almost want to curse God. And then all of a sudden, Allison, God's wanting you to be strong. And instantly I calmed down. I stopped and I calmed down. Just stopped. All the anger, everything went away, and I just felt peace all over. And I knew, you just know, when certain things happens to you in your life, you just know. Nobody else can tell you that it wasn't. You just know. You feel it in your gut, in your soul. You know. Anyway, this is coming out to be very long. I didn't want to go over 30 minutes, so I am actually there. And so see you on the next video. Um, and I'm going to talk about the process that we go through when we are awakening. When we are awakened, when we're awakening, there is a process, and we have to be patient with that process. So see you on the next video. Come back and watch that video. And please give me some pointers. I'm not one of those people who's going to be like how hypeful. It's just not me. I'm very calm. And I don't know. I guess this is how people feel when you're just relaxed, and you're feeling love. And I know. So please just give me some feedback. Help me out here. I I'm gonna continue sharing no matter what, but I just So anyway, thank you so much, and I'm gonna go now, and I'll see you in the next video, and we're gonna talk about the process of what you go through. And we are little gods. That's who we are. Bottom line of the story is we're just little gods. We're little gods that are going through a process of learning, experiencing, and gaining wisdom to go on through our next evolution. That's it. How about that? See you.